A fascinating presentation. I think I certainly have a number of questions, and I think we have enough time, a couple minutes, for our audience to ask questions. So if there's anybody who would like to ask questions for clarification or for curiosity, please. Yeah, I think that's... actually, maybe then I can have a question. If you could go back to the graph between the... no, further up please. The very first graph between the objective and the subjective health. Not being an expert on these measures, I think my main question would be the Czech Republic here, and also Poland, your home country, have a huge divide between the income measurement, the income poverty, and the subjective poverty. And I was talking to Axel briefly why that is, and this would be the question to you.
Well, I wouldn't be able to say much about Czech Republic. Czech Republic is generally well known for a relatively low distribution of income, so this is probably why that's the case. In Poland, the poverty threshold is low enough so that a high proportion of pensioners are above it, even though their income levels are generally low by objective standards. It is well known in Poland that pensioners and people above 65, let's say, usually have their income poverty is measured as a very low number, but at the same time, as we saw in Guillermo's chapter, they have very low wealth, they have poor housing quality, and the subjective feeling of poverty will also be affected by things like access to healthcare or access to long-term care. These are measures which will not be picked up by income measures, and they clearly affect the subjective feeling of being in poor material conditions. So I think this is one explanation. That is clearly it requires more work and digging more into the data. But I think the subjective measure, although it's just a feeling of being poor or not, it's actually a very strong predictor of material conditions.
Thank you. Okay. Well, it's my pleasure now to introduce Professor Dr. Gábor Kesdi from Hungary. Gábor received his PhD from the University of Michigan. He is currently an associate professor at the Central European University in Budapest. And he will talk today about, as you can already see, low employment among the 50-plus population in Hungary, and here especially the role of incentives, health, and cognitive capacities.
Thank you for having me here, and thank you for inviting me to give this short presentation. This paper was co-authored by János Gödény, who sits in the first row here. He's a student at Central European University. The motivation of this short paper is a fact that is well known in Hungary, and perhaps not all that surprising outside of Hungary, but that is the employment rate of the 50-plus population is low, but the magnitude of the divide between these are OECD countries, but most of the Czech countries are listed here as well. The magnitude of the divide is pretty surprising to many. Hungary is at the low end, of course. So the question is why? The contribution of this analysis is not to answer questions, but more pointing to several factors. It's an exploratory analysis, and we are searching for potentially important factors, establishing causal relationships as it goes beyond our scope, and why it is so. I'm going to explain more in a minute. We focus on three major factors. Financial incentives, these are earnings, potential earnings and potential employment versus pension income. Cognitive skills and health. And the analysis is based on comparisons across countries. The question being whether the low employment rate in Hungary compared to other countries, whether that is the extent to which that may be attributable to different factors compared to other countries. For analysis of this kind, SHARE offers by far the best data because we are here in search for explanations, and so we need data that combines measures in many domains, more domains than usual data sets, be them survey data or administrative data have. So we need, for the specific analysis that I'm going to show to you, we need, of course, measures of employment, also earnings, pension income, but also measures on skills and health, and as good and as detailed and as reliable measures as possible. The SHARE data set combines these measures. It is designed to answer complex questions of this sort. SHARE also allows for direct cross-country comparison, which is also essential for analysis because we like to compare measures across countries, and as we all know, unless measures are measured the same way in different countries, cross-country comparisons can be very problematic. And the harmonization of the SHARE data across participating countries is essential for our analysis. We use data from wave 4. The question is on Hungary, and Hungary joined SHARE in wave 4, so we cannot use any data. This limits the analysis to cross-sectional comparisons. We compare countries and people in countries at one point in time in 2010. The sample I'm going to work with here is people aged 50 to 75. The sample size is 2,500 for Hungary and 45,000 in total. Of course, because becoming not employed is the process that we really have in mind for this question, it will be best to look at transitions from employment to non-employment, either to retirement or other states of non-employment, and for that, further waves would be helpful for longitudinal analysis, as that might not happen, and it will not happen for Hungary. There's not going to be wave 5 for Hungary. It's now almost 100% sure, but hopefully there's going to be wave 6 and then further on. So I'm going to show you evidence on a few domains. First, on financial incentives, or maybe I should say financial disincentives to stay employed for Hungarians in 50 plus. Earnings in Hungary of this 50 plus age group are very close to retirement income. And this, of course, the lack of difference creates incentives to retire early as soon as possible. It is also helped by the legal framework to retire early. The distance between attainable earnings and income attainable at retirement is a lot smaller, so these two are substantially closer in Hungary than in most other European countries. This, of course, may be an important factor in explaining the growth in Hungary in comparison with other countries. So the figure on the next slide is going to show this. We're going to show median earnings of employed respondents together with the median income of retired respondents by age and country. And this is a picture that it might not all not that easy to read. I would like to point to row number 2, the last column. That's where Hungary is. The grayish diamond dots are median earnings, and the orange dots are median yearly income in retirement, and the scale is harmonized across countries so that 100 is the median earnings, actually the median earnings in age 55 to 59. So what is it you see on this figure is that everything is around 100 in Hungary. There's no the median yearly income in retirement is not any lower, and it doesn't go down. There's just no difference. Now, Hungary is not alone in this. If you look at the bottom left corner in Slovenia or some other countries, you see patterns of similar patterns, but in most countries it isn't like that. So I would like to point to the Czech Republic, the third column, first row. There is a marked difference. Maybe not huge, but there is a difference. Similarly, to the left to it, in Austria and Belgium, the difference might not be large, but there is some difference. To the right of the Czech Republic and Denmark, this is the measure. This is not proof for anything, but it's a very suggestive. Now, this is of course not entirely new. This is not going to be finding, but we have to think about why this is so. Earnings are close to retirement income for two reasons. One reason retirement incomes might be pension incomes are set relatively high, but also attainable earnings are low in this age. These are two reasons. And attainable earnings and employment prospects may be low because of low levels of skills in Hungary. That actually is not supported by the data, as we'll see. The skills of Hungarians in this age group are not very different. I mean, they are in the middle range of the average skills in other European countries in the relevant age group. However, attainable earnings and employment prospects may be low because of bad health of Hungarians, and that is strongly supported by the data. Hungarians are in significantly worse health than the people in most other European countries. And the graph on the next page is, I think, even harder to read than the previous one, but perhaps a little more exciting. So I'd like to point your attention to the bottom row, middle pair of figures, which is a peak flow measure, an objective measure of health, directly measuring lung capacity, but also known to be an indicator of non-respiratory diseases, but other health conditions. And we see an orange line and two grayish lines. The orange line is the value, and the scale is the scale, the national scale of the people measure. Instrumentation is not very important. We see a decline for males and females, and what's more important for us, the two grayish lines, the thinner lines, show the range into which half of all the European countries in share are represented. So this would be the upper line would be the third quartile, and the lower line would be the first quartile. So what it is to see here is that Hungarian respondents are below that, especially in the younger age groups among them. And if you, I'm not going to walk you through for lack of time the other parts of the graph, but it is a consistent finding across subjective measures of health, counts of illnesses, body mass index, and many other measures, that Hungarian respondents are substantially worse condition, and the average Hungarian respondent is significantly worse health condition than the average respondent in other countries. Now, this of course there's no direct relationship to health here, but if you look at employment rates of people with comparable skills and comparable measures of health, you can see that the health differences explain about 1/3 of the employment gap between Hungary and Europe, to say it in somewhat different ways. If Hungarians were of similar skills and health than respondents in sharing the other European countries, on average, then their employment rate would be closer to the employment rate of other Europeans by 1/3 of the current gap. This is an average measure. Skill differences explain nothing about the employment gap, not surprisingly, because there's skill composition and the average skill, but also composition of skills of Hungarians in this case is comparable with the European average. However, this 1/3 difference is an average measure. It masks important differences across the distribution of skill and the skills and health. So if you compare people with similar skills and health, then the employment gap varies depending on what level of skill and what level of health we do this comparison. In particular, the gap between Hungary and Europe is the largest among people, in terms of employment, among people with bad health and low skills. So So the next figure is, I think, wins the hardest to read in this pretty close competition. The right, this is a three-dimensional graph. The vertical axis is employment rate. This is 50 to 69-year-old man. 1 is 100%, 0 is nobody's employed. On the x-axis, that is the width, we see health, groups of people, 5 groups of health. This is a combined measure of all the objective measures that we have seen before. And the depth, the z-axis, is similarly 5 categories of skills. These are comparable skill measures that we have time to choose them in detail. There are these 25 cells. Within each cell, this picture shows the employment rates, and the right panel is other European countries, and the left panel is Hungary. There's more ups and downs in Hungary in part because of those relatively low sample size. But the message of the picture is that if you look at the deep right corner, the best group both in terms of health and skills, employment rates are very comparable. And further left and further in front you move, that is, you go down in skills, you go down in health, and especially in terms of skills, the distance between European and Hungarian employment rates increases. So the trouble is really down there. To conclude, we can conclude that the research and policy should focus on the employment of less healthy and less skilled Hungarians of older age, if this policy is to improve the employability or the employment rate of 50 plus people in Hungary, which is, I think, a very problem for many, many reasons. So it should address the role of health in employment. It also should address the other reasons, most likely financial incentives and other conditions for the less healthy and the less skilled groups, or think about policy alternatives that will lead to lower the gap. And I think the most important conclusion for us here today is the multidisciplinary and multi-country data share is the best source for analysis of this kind. In order to move from exploratory to more affirmative policy research, we need larger samples in order to be able, for example, to analyze these finding defined groups of low skill and low health by country. Longitudinal data to look at not only current employment status, but transitions from employment to non-employment, and perhaps more measures of health. I think more measures that can allow us calculating the pension formula, so predict attainable pensions,